to that area. Well, good evening. Thank you for joining us on our digital streaming newscast. I'm Rob Elgis.
And I'm Cheryl Burton. We begin, though, tonight on this Tuesday with some breaking news. At least one person is dead after a shooting near a vehicle in the West Rogers Park neighborhood. This is at Estes and Rockwell. Right now, police are on the scene investigating. They have yet to release the circumstances surrounding the shooting.
Updating breaking news on the west side, a 16-year-old boy was shot several times this afternoon in the West Garfield Park neighborhood. Police say the teen was near a sidewalk near Madison and Karlov when this shooting happened. He's being treated at a nearby hospital. At last check, he was in critical condition, and so far no one's in custody.
Well, tonight there are demands for justice for a 66-year-old convenience store clerk who was killed as he tried to fend off a robbery attempt. Salim Kamal was shot in the chest just before 10 o'clock last night.
Shooting happened in the city's West Rogers Park neighborhood. Stephanie Wade spoke to the victim's family and has more.
The family is grieving tonight. The clerk's brother tells me they came here from Iraq in search of a better life and to live the American dream. Instead, the 66-year-old man was killed here yesterday in his own store just weeks before he was set to retire.
Worked so hard for 30 years to provide us with such a good life.
A family is in shock today after 66-year-old Salim Kamo was shot and killed in an attempted robbery Monday night. It happened at the J&K Food and Liquor store in the 6300 block of Northwestern Avenue in West Rogers Park. Surveillance video shows a man roll up on a bike just before 10 p.m. Police say he demanded money from Kamo, who was working behind the counter. When he refused, he shot him in the chest.
I knew exactly what it was, but I didn't know it was him. Come down to find out, it was like, I was just stunned.
Kamo, who also had a gun, returned fire, police say, but the gunman wasn't hit. The suspect seen running away, leaving his bike behind after the shooting.
We came from Iraq, you know, we ran because we were refugees. We're Christian Assyrians from the Middle East, and he was just a proud man.
Kamo lived for his family, his son says. Nothing brought him more happiness. His 7 grandchildren, his pride and joy. And in less than 60 seconds, Kamo's life was taken in the very store he opened with his brother in 2006 after saving up enough money.
If you talk to anyone in that neighborhood, they knew he worked hard because he wanted to provide for his family.
This shooting terrifying other nearby businesses who say they've been robbed before too. The family pleading with the man who did this to come forward.
My dad has done nothing wrong his whole life. He's done everything right. He deserves this. He deserves this justice.
At this point, police say no one is in custody as detectives continue their investigation. In West Rogers Park, Stephanie Wade, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Just so heartbreaking. Thank you for that, Stephanie. A jewel store manager confronted a group trying to steal from the store on the south side last night. It happened at 61st and Cottage Grove in the Woodlawn neighborhood. Police say 3 men stole several items, including bottles of alcohol, and then they walked out. A store manager ran outside after them. Investigators say one of the men pulled out a gun and threatened the manager before running away.
Changes are expected to the Safety Act, but what those are remains unclear. Illinois will be the first state to impose no cash bail for some criminal suspects with the Pretrial Fairness Act starting January 1st. Today, advocates for the bill are speaking out.
We want to continue to streamline what's happening in the court system with ending cash bail. So when you talk about lower level nonviolent crimes, hopefully these situations and these offenses will unclog our system.
There will be a public meeting held tonight at St. Sabina, hosted by a group supporting the Safety Act.
And tomorrow, family and friends will gather to say their final goodbyes to a West Suburban high school student.
A 17-year-old collapsed at a choir event. Karen Jordan talked with the grieving family about their loss.
Daniel Moshe was a gifted musician, his exceptional voice earning him a spot as the lead tenor in the choir at St. Andrew's Assyrian Church. Loden Moshe often accompanied his son Daniel on the piano. The church, an integral part of the family's life, The Moshis are relying on their faith more than ever after Daniel died unexpectedly on Friday.
We are devastated, shocked. We're losing a 17-year-old son.
Daniel was one of a few dozen students from around the state selected for a show choir performance at Naperville North High School. He was rehearsing all day Friday when his mother says that evening she received a phone call.
They told us that while he was doing his solo, he just passed out. And when I got there, Daniel was already gone. My precious baby boy.
The Moshis agreed to an autopsy, and initial results did not determine a cause of death. More test results may take several weeks.
He's with Jesus. I know that. We know that because he's singing in there because he loved to sing for the Lord.
Daniel loved musical theater, and his dream was to have a career on Broadway. Meanwhile, his younger sister Danya says she still feels his presence.
I heard my brother whisper in my ear, "I'm okay. Don't worry about me."
Karen Jordan, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Thanks so much for that, Karen. We are now 3 weeks away from Election Day, and tonight candidates for Illinois governor will square off for one final debate. A poll released by the Illinois Broadcasters Association yesterday gives Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker a commanding lead over Republican challenger Darren Bailey. Bailey's team, however, says their own internal polling shows the race is much tighter. ABC 7 political reporter Craig Wall will be at tonight's debate. Craig will have a full recap coming up tonight over on ABC 7 at 10 o'clock on the news.
Now to a closely watched race in Northwest Indiana. Incumbent Democrat Frank Mervan is being challenged by Republican newcomer Jennifer Ruth Green and independent William Powers. Gary, Valparaiso, Maryville, and Michigan are just 4 of the many cities and towns in that district, which covers all of Lake and Porter counties and parts of LaPorte. As Sarah Schulte reports, Green and the Republicans are hoping to gain control of that district for the first time in decades.
Northwest Indiana's working class and industrial roots have kept Democrats in power for over 90 years in the 1st Congressional District. But Air Force veteran Jennifer Ruth Green is hoping to be the first Republican to flip the district since 1930.
I'm running because Hoosiers deserve better.
Green says she decided to run against one-term incumbent Congressman Frank Mervan when she saw House Speaker Nancy Pelosi rip up Donald Trump's State of the Union speech.
When I was watching that, it just very clearly sent a signal to our international adversaries that we were comfortable projecting instability.
As a conservative Republican, Green criticizes Mervan for voting with Pelosi and President Biden's agenda most of the time. One she says includes out-of-control spending.
I'm very proud of the American Rescue Plan that we passed that saved lives. It was able to save businesses and faith-based communities and faith-based churches.
Mervan says he's also proud of the infrastructure bill that he says will bring $8 billion to Northwest Indiana. The 1st district race is a tight one. The outcome could affect the balance of the U.S. House. National money is being poured into it. Both candidates are hitting the airwaves. And as they are across the country, inflation, crime, and abortion are big issues in this race.
I believe that codifying Roe versus Wade is one of my essential functions, and I'm going to continue to fight for that.
Green is anti-abortion rights. She supports a federal abortion ban after 15 weeks with exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. And while Mervan hopes to keep his Democratic base, Green is convinced she will sway traditional Democrats like union voters to vote Republican. Green has out-fundraised Mervan for a 2nd straight quarter, and she says the majority of her fundraising comes from individual donors. But both candidates know money doesn't necessarily translate into votes. In Hammond, Sarah Schulte, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Election Day is fast approaching, November 8th, but you can vote early and find your polling place and learn more about the candidates on the ballot by checking our voter's guide. You can find it at abc7chicago.com. Another cold day here in Chicago. City looks nice, though.
I know, it's just really beautiful. It's all lit up, of course, celebrating and honoring Breast Cancer Awareness Month with the pink lights at the top. It looks better than it feels, though.
Yeah, right? We're in upper 40s.
Windy, yeah.
We just need to stay bundled up for a little longer.
Right. You know, there's a gentleman who comes out here every day to our 7 o'clock on State Street.
The dancer?
But yeah, today he's here with full coat and hat on. So That says a lot. And we had some Disney employees coming in. They're in the building today.
Oh, nice.
And they live in California.
Ooh.
And they had sweater. They said this weather was just disrespectful. That was the term they used.
It's October in Chicago. Right. They will be respected when they hear Phil's extended forecast.
Just hang out to the weekend.
Yeah. Probably back in LA by then.
Fine, we'll take that LA weather.
Right.
And while we warm up, it's going to turn kind of chilly out west. So, maybe they'll appreciate Chicago weather after all. Highs today, 49 at O'Hare, 50 at Midway. That's 6 degrees warmer than yesterday, but still 13 degrees below the normal high. This is the 6th day in a row colder than normal. And look at the numbers right now. McHenry, you're at 42, 44 in St. Charles, 46 officially at O'Hare, and 45 in Whiting. Still have a little bit of lake effect in northwest Indiana. You got to get east of Portage. There you see it possibly affecting you folks in Chesterton and Michigan City. This is rain, though, not snow. So as we go through the night tonight and into tomorrow, you can see temperatures starting out very close to freezing. We might hit 32 for the first time this season, but then during the afternoon, lots of sunshine. Temperatures very similar to today. Still a bit breezy, but not as windy as it was during the day today. And then as we head through the week, here it comes. By Thursday, back into the upper 50s. And how about 70 on Friday? You think that's mild? Wait till you see what we have in store for the weekend. More on that in just a few minutes. Cheryl and Rob.
We're living for the weekend, Phil. Thank you for that. We're coming up. New business opportunities being offered along Chicago's famous Riverwalk. Mayor Lightfoot today requesting proposals from food and beverage vendors, retail and entertainment entrepreneurs, and other business owners.
Says she's looking for new teams to take over the available space on the Riverwalk, something she calls, quote, the economic engine of our city.
It gives us the opportunity to plan. It gives us the opportunity to make sure that we are getting the work done that needs to be done all across our city to repair our aging infrastructure and to keep people employed.
Business proposals for the Riverwalk are due December 2nd.
Well, still to come here at 7 o'clock on Eyewitness News, a donut with your Big Mac. Oh my. More on the new addition that McDonald's is trying out.
You are excited. I know you love Mickey D's.
I mean, I do.
Yeah.
I really do. I thought I smelled it in the newsroom tonight, but put a donut on a Big Mac. Okay, we got it.
We'll
talk about it.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. Plus, Ditka, Jordan, Chicago sports legends, how you can own treasures from their careers.
Okay, McDonald's and Krispy Kreme are testing out a new pairing, a new collaboration. The company is announcing today McDonald's will start selling Krispy Kreme donuts. Ooh, yummy. Look at that. The sweet treats will be delivered fresh every day to select locations.
Sorry, though. Okay. This is only being tested in Louisville, Kentucky. So we're out of luck here in Chicago. But who knows, if testing goes well, you could be eating a Big Mac with the side of a donut.
See,
I'm
that's
not
kind
sure.
of nice.
You think so?
You know, it's like dessert.
And dinner. with the Big
Well,
Mac.
right. That's kind of delicious. Instead of, well, because sometimes you might get ice cream or the apple pie. Now, the apple pie, ooh, McDonald's apple pie.
You haven't had dinner, have
It's
you?
so good. I did, but it
You
was
did?
really
Okay.
healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like really well healthy.
This is not so
pumpkin
healthy.
soup.
Yeah.
I know.
With the
Ooh.
Big Mac
And
side
Krispy
of
Kreme.
donuts.
Because how many Krispy Kremes can you eat in one sitting?
I'm not a big donut guy. Maybe one. I did have a
But
Long
Krispy
John this
Kreme,
weekend.
though.
Yeah.
Like, remember when they came out, you didn't go crazy and eat
No.
like a lot of them with a big glass of milk?
No, you didn't
Really?
either, Phil?
You
I hear
didn't
you over
either?
there saying something.
Oh,
Too
man,
sugary?
that was,
They're very
it was
glazy.
like air.
Very glazy.
Right, and air, like, dun.
Sound effects.
And it was just like soft and chewy and
We're going to get...
I wish I had that on tape.
Well, it's on tape. Somebody's recorded it. We're going to get a whole sound catalog from you talking about food. It'd be great. People would pay for it.
oh, 2 all beef patty, special sauce, pickles, lettuce, onions on a sesame seed bun.
And a
then-
Krispy Kreme donut.
Yeah.
We're going to add that to the song. Here's a chance to own a piece of Chicago sports history. The jersey and sweater seen during former Bears coach Mike Ditka's retirement ceremony being sold at auction next week.
And Bulls fans, you might be interested in Michael Jordan's 1986. Michael Jordan was a rookie card and a signed poster showing him wearing his 6 y'all, championship rings. The auctions are taking place online next week at Henbin Auctions. And by the way, we want to wish the coach, Mike Ditka, today is his 83rd birthday. 83 years old.
Coach.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Coach. Anything you'd like to see there that you... The poster is signed by Michael with the 6 rings.
I remember the rookie card when it came out, and at the time, I don't think many of us realized how valuable they would be.
Right, trading cards.
They'd be worth a lot of money now.
I know, it's going to be interesting to see. That's going to go a lot higher than the poster sign.
You never know, but an autograph from MJ, I mean, his stuff is all ridiculously expensive now. What did we do? The shoes, I think, Phil, that he wore at one of the finals games in Utah, and it wasn't even games. Did that go game 7? But the one they won and clinched, and they were good. We're talking millions of bucks, weren't we, or $500,000?
I know. I would do that. I love sports memorabilia. I collect it too. So
do you?
I do. I do collect it.
Did not know this.
I collect none of it.
Do you collect anything?
No.
No.
I do, and I love sports history because
I have
I've
some
been in
sports
so
memorabilia.
much of it in Chicago.
I'll tell you what, speaking of that, when the World Series Game 7, covering that with JR and our crews, I saved a lot of stuff from that.
That I saved.
Yeah. I have some
I was
stuff.
there, and I saved my,
You were at the games, Phil?
I was at the game.
Wow.
Game 7.
Do you want to know
What?
that you were in the crowd?
Wow.
I was in the crowd.
You want
Oh
to
my
know
goodness, Phil, we did not know that. He
That
was a
was
part of
great.
history. We knew he was a historian, but
I've never
goodness.
said this publicly.
Uh-oh.
The 2 of my prized possessions from that day.
Your press credentials?
Yeah, for sure, right? Is a tin of chewing tobacco that I
Ooh.
found in the dugout.
Uh-oh. Whose
mean,
is it?
I don't know.
You got to do a
Yeah, I don't
DNA
know.
testing?
It was laying there after they won, and then, but you might say this is stealing. It was pouring rain that night. I know we got to go to weather. Jose's
Okay.
wrapping us. I grabbed a piece of the sod from the first base
That's
line.
stealing.
And
Ooh,
Progressive Field has lost that
Stealing
now.
bases.
Yeah, and I have the dirt in a little vial that I keep.
That is historic.
Dirt from
And
Progressive
he
Field.
asked earlier today if I would,
That's-
I would be a racketeer. That's what he asked.
Wait till that story. It's awesome.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me tell that, Jose. I went way
That's
too
some
long.
really cool stuff.
It's
You
pretty
should
neat.
put in a shadow box that.
Yeah. Oh, I've got it
you
on
gotta
display.
Put it somewhere.
And I have shared it with very few people.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
And
now
you're
the
definitely,
world knows.
Well, you're
The
not
world
getting
knows.
one, Phil, at all. There's no way.
By heartbreaks.
He's all salty today.
Bird, because it's
Always
cold.
salty. You know
right.
that.
It's cold outside. Let's
I
get
got
some-
my coffee.
Let's get
Yeah.
some warm thoughts. Come
Oh,
on.
it's
Get away,
coming.
Mr. Sunshine.
It's coming. You just got to wait a few more days. 6 days in a row with below normal temperatures. Look at that high temperature, 49 degrees during the day today. Normal high is 62. The average temperature overall is 52.9. That's approximately 3.9 degrees below normal. And look at the lows tomorrow morning. You folks in Crystal Lake down to 30, 27 out in Ottawa, 29 in Morris. If we reach 32 at O'Hare, that will be the first time this season we've been to the freezing mark. But look at the next 7 days, 49 tomorrow, into the upper 50s Thursday. But the weekend looks spectacular with plenty of sunshine and temperatures possibly topping out in the mid-70s. Still have this Lakeshore flood advisory for northwest Indiana. Only minor flooding being reported along the Lakeshore so far, but some very big waves. That will expire here in a few hours. And we're still seeing some lake effect rain showers. Fairly light activity now, but still around Michigan City and just to the east of Chesterton around Westville. This is, though, just rain, not snow. The high temperature today of 49 degrees is some 13 degrees below the average of 62. Last year in the state, we made it up to 72 degrees. Right now, mostly cloudy skies out at O'Hare. Northwest winds at 15, giving us a wind chill of 40 degrees. Few other numbers for you. Elgin, you're at 43, 44 in beautiful Wilmette, 44 also in Crown Point, 42 up in Madison as well as in Green Bay. There's the back edge of the clouds. You can see they're just still moving into most of the area. You get west of the Fox River Valley, skies are still fairly clear, but we will see that clearing eventually, especially by mid-morning tomorrow. Look at the freeze warnings all the way down into sections of Louisiana and into the Florida Panhandle overnight tonight. But for us, well, there it is. You can see it spinning away there. It will start to move off to the east. As that low moves away from us, we will see some clearing tomorrow. Now, I think first thing in the morning, you can see there will be some clouds around. So you wake up, it's still going to be kind of gray. It's going to be cold with temperatures down around freezing. But then we break into the sunshine. It will be a bit breezy, but still nicer day tomorrow than what we saw during the day today, but marginally so. Then as we get into Thursday, a totally different day with a southwest wind, just some high thin clouds, highs near 60, and the real warm up gets into high gear on Thursday. With southwest winds, we'll see plenty of sunshine and a high up to 70. This front does not mean business. It's very weak and it will do very little to change our weather as we head into our weekend. So overnight tonight, partly to at times mostly cloudy. Lows in some of the outlying areas as low as 26. The low here in the city, 34. Tomorrow, after some clouds through the mid-morning hours, it will become sunny. Highs 45 far north, 51 south. Most of us in the upper 40s, upper 50s Thursday, and there's the real warmth as we get into the weekend. 73 Saturday, 74 on Sunday. Early next week, that's about our next chance of seeing any rain. Some showers early in the day Monday. We could actually use some rain. It's still been a very dry month, and it does cool off just a bit early next week, but nothing as chilly as it's been the last couple days. So enjoy Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have a great stretch of weather coming up. Cheryl and Rob.
A lot of blue there.
I know,
It's a
we
lot
like
of blue.
it.
Thank you, Melissa.
Likey.
Still to come, policy kings, black racketeers who ruled Bronzeville nearly a century ago. Rich and prosperous, their compelling story told in a new movie with its world premiere tomorrow here in Chicago.
Sounds fascinating, and it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. How a fashion show this weekend is helping battle the disease. Well, the state lottery is big business, but long before it got started, there was a thriving numbers game of chance in Chicago.
About to get a history lesson.
Yeah.
Edward Jones and his brothers ran the illegal racket called Policy in Brownsville, and it made millions. Jose Sanders tells us about a new movie revealing a fascinating chapter in our city's black history, debuting at the Chicago Film Festival tomorrow.
This is the first policy station owned by the Jones brothers. In the back is policy action.
They made about $110, $115 million, which was equivalent to about $1 billion then.
King of Kings, Chasing Edward Jones. Harriet Moran Jones is his granddaughter and spent a decade and her own money making the film.
The whole story basically takes place here. It's a story not only of your family, but the history of the city and how it all folds into the culture as well.
This illegal numbers game was controlled at the time by African Americans. And then eventually they're going to let the mob take in. It changed everything. And then eventually, of course, the government took it over, changed the name, legalized it, and it became the state lottery.
Black people were not admitted to the Cotton Club, but my father was well known at that moment, and so they let him in.
I had no idea that my grandfather had been one of the richest men in the United States. You can be sure that my mother never said a single thing.
What do you think this story says about Chicago, Harriet?
Well, for me, it really shows that in the midst of segregation, in a time which was very difficult for the African American community, that you could still really make it. A lot of the money they made, they invested it back in the community. And when you think that in the 30s and 40s, the South Side, Brownsville was a thriving community.
I would have to call them the Robin Hoods of Chicago during the Depression because they took care of the people.
Music icon Quincy Jones, no relation, knew the Jones family growing up on the South Side and is working on his own film about the Policy Kings.
My father was never a gangster.
She always tried to make him into a saint, you know. I said, but baby, he's a gangster.
Are you excited to present this for the Chicago Film Festival?
The idea to have the world premiere in Chicago makes so much sense. I really wanted to do this one for it to be entertaining, because that's really how you can draw people to stay from beginning to end if it's done in a way that takes them in.
Jose Sanders, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
This is incredible. Well, King of Kings, Chasing Edward Jones premieres at the Chicago History Museum tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. There is a free showing for the community at the Hamilton Park Cultural Center this Friday night at 6:30, and this looks phenomenal. Plus, it's history that not many of us know about it.
I didn't know a lot of that.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Thanks to Jose for that.
Yeah.
Still to come here on Eyewitness News, progress at Provident Hospital. Ambulance run returning to the Southside Medical Center. They return to the Southside Medical Center soon.
Plus, the pushback from former parishioners as work begins to remove a religious statue from a shuttered church in Pilsen.
Tonight, cautious optimism about ambulances returning to a historic Southside hospital. Provident Hospital discontinued ambulance runs in 2011 because of budget cuts. Tomorrow, they will resume, allowing patients care closer to home, but possibly also putting more stress on staff. ABC 7's Evelyn Holmes has more on this expansion.
This Providence Hospital patient arrives for her regular appointment, knowing if she gets seriously ill again, she won't have to take public transportation to the emergency room.
I'm happy to hear that they're bringing it back. You know, so we'll have some kind of emergency services over here.
Today, Cook County officials announced ambulance service will return to the Southside Medical Center again after being stopped more than a decade ago because of budgetary reasons.
This is an exciting milestone.
The hospital, which is not a trauma center, begins accepting ambulances tomorrow. Before Wednesday, Providence Emergency Room, which was never closed, accepted walk-in patients and those who arrived by car. Hospital administrators say a more than $5 million investment to upgrade the ER and other departments, along with expanding Medicaid coverage and the Affordable Care Act, help recovery of ambulance runs possible.
Individuals have coverage, which makes bringing more resources to the system viable long-term financially.
Community advocates who have long since complained about the lack of access to quality medical care say the plan is a good start.
How is it going to meet the needs of the future?
Providence Emergency Room now sees about 19,000 patients a year and is expected to increase. And that's just what Providence ER nurse Nasis Davis is concerned about.
I think it's going to be a disaster to open up ambulances without having the appropriate amount of staffing that's needed.
Hospital officials say the resumption of EMS service to Providence will provide more health care options for Southside residents and could even help ease already stressed ERs at other hospitals.
They should have everything, whatever health you need.
Evelyn Holmes, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Evelyn, thank you for that. Former parishioners turning out to protest the removal of a religious statue from St. Adelberg Church. That church was shut down by the Archdiocese of Chicago back in 2019. John Garcia tonight with more from the Pilsen neighborhood, where some are still calling for the shuttered church to be saved.
St. Adelberg Church has been an important part of both the Mexican and Polish communities here in Pilsen for more than a century. In fact, some of the demonstrators who are out here right now trying to keep the Archdiocese from removing anything from inside the church. At one point, some 4,000 members attended here. It has been closed for several years, however, and the Archdiocese wants to remove some of what they say is valuable art inside. There's a giant hole in the back of the century-old church. Crews apparently created it so they could remove a statue, the Pieta, a replica of a famous Michelangelo statue in the Vatican. They plan to move it to another church, St. Paul, about a mile away. When they came to remove it this morning, however, they were met by demonstrators and police called here to keep the peace.
That's the concern that we have. Once the Pieta is gone, so will everything else trickle out of there.
The Archdiocese closed St. Adelberg Church in 2019, citing declining attendance and approximately $3 million in needed repairs. Many in the community, however, have been trying to save the church ever since. Some want to turn it into a shrine, as several other closed Chicago churches have done.
It has been the home for these Catholics for over 100 years, and they don't want to see it destroyed like this. Their money built it, their money maintained it, and when the Catholic Church is done with it, they seem to be cut out of the picture.
Demonstrators say they've been trying for months to meet with Cardinal Cupich and Mayor Lightfoot to come up with a solution, but to no avail. So they've camped here for the last 40 days. Ultimately, this morning, plans to remove the Pieta are put on hold because the buildings department determined the crews lacked the proper permits. In a statement, the Archdiocese says, "We continue to work with the city to get the proper permits. The parish still intends to move the statue to St. Paul Church."
To me, the problem is that, unfortunately, the Cardinal and the Mayor have a different plan. But the plan cannot violate the due process. That's what they've done today. They violated due process without proper permits, trying to remove the Pieta.
Protesters say they plan to continue to camp out here, keep watch over the church. At this point, no word from either the mayor or from Cardinal Cupich on whether they plan to meet any of these demonstrators. In the Pilsen community, John Garcia, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Parents at St. Stanislaus School have sent a list of demands to administrators and the Diocese of Gary. Last week, a teacher at the East Chicago school was arrested after reportedly telling a student that she had a so-called kill list. Parents have expressed frustration over the handling of this situation. Now they're making several demands, including shifting to remote learning, a security officer at the school entrance, and periodic staff mental health check-ins. We've reached out to the diocese for comment.
And a person of interest now in custody in connection with the gruesome murders of 4 friends in Oklahoma. Police arresting Joe Kennedy in Florida and what they say was a stolen vehicle. Authorities are not calling him a suspect, but do believe he has important information about what happened. The victims' dismembered bodies were discovered in a river. Each one of the men had been shot.
A Kentucky man's been charged with a decades-old murder of a 69-year-old woman from Gary, Indiana. And prosecutors say Gerald Smith raped and brutally murdered Gloria Hansel. Hansel was found strangled in her home in 1994. Investigators say they used DNA evidence collected at the scene to charge Smith. They also credit members of the FBI's gang response investigative team who learned that Smith was in Gary shortly before the murder and even knew the victim. Smith is being held in a Kentucky jail, will be extradited to Lake County, Indiana.
It is day 12 of the trial of Darrell Brooks, and it continues. Brooks is accused of killing 6 people at a Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Earlier in the day, Judge Jennifer Darrow had Brooks and the jury removed from the courtroom because of statements that he made during the prosecution's cross-examination. A witness called to testify, the judge later allowing him to return. Brooks, who is representing himself, then had a combative exchange with a Waukesha police detective, Jay Carpenter, over the way the parade incident wasn't brought up during his initial 5-hour interrogation.
Prowling, loitering, disorderly conduct of that nature.
Is that the same as...
Can I finish, please? I just didn't bring up the parade part of it.
The prosecution is expected to rest their case tomorrow.
Animal experts are now investigating the death of a mountain lion that was hit and killed on I-88 in DeKalb County. The Illinois Department of Natural Resources believes it is the same lion that was seen in Whiteside County in September. That's about 80 miles from DeKalb County. ABC 7's Leah Hope spoke to a member of the department.
Mountain lions or cougars are rare in our area. State wildlife officials tell us only 8 of the solitary predators have been found in Illinois in the last 20 years, including one hit and killed by a vehicle in DeKalb Sunday on I-88.
We believe it's probably an individual that was reported to us from Whiteside County that was captured on a trail camera on private property.
Nate Grider is a wildlife biologist with the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. Grider says a necropsy and DNA tracing are being done now, and it likely came from a population out west.
At this point, we're just getting those young male individuals dispersing across the landscape looking for others, and they're not finding any because they're not here. So it's kind of a perilous journey for them.
In 2008, a mountain lion was shot and killed in Roscoe Village by law enforcement. That animal was traced by DNA to a population in the Black Hills of South Dakota. Currently, IDNR reports the agency is tracking a mountain lion from Nebraska with a GPS monitor in Illinois. Grinder says it's unlikely it would want any contact with humans, but if you encounter a mountain lion, get big and back away.
Stand tall, look large, and keep your eye on the animal and slowly back away while keeping your eye on the animal. Don't run away. Don't try to intimidate the animal. They really don't want anything to do with people.
Grinder expects to know more about the DeKalb mountain lion in the coming days. In Chicago, Leah Hope, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Leah, thank you. 2 college students who were attacked by a bear are now sharing what happened as they continue to recover in a hospital. Brad Lowry and some wrestling teammates from Northwest College were antler hunting in Wyoming when a bear attacked Lowry. Lowry here on the left says one of his teammates, Kendall Cummings, then started yelling at the bear to get its attention. Well, even kicking and pulling at its hair, and that's when the bear chased after him.
Then it tackled me and chewed me up a little bit, and then when it was done, it wandered off, and I started calling out for Brady to make sure he was all right.
Ooh, but the bear wasn't done. It attacked Cummings a second time, biting his head and his cheek before taking off. Both the students were severely injured. They have broken bones, but very thankful they were rescued and they will be okay. Ooh, it's difficult for me.
It's hard to see his face.
Yeah.
Like those dudes probably shouldn't have survived.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's breaking their bones and just tearing at their flesh.
And the story of survival, the way he describes what happened, and he stayed alive, and because sometimes you pass out from something traumatic
I don't know what
like
I would
that.
do. You fight back because it's your life, and That's a wild
Overwhelming,
story.
right.
Well, coming up, the inequities when it comes to who receives flu vaccines and who is hospitalized.
Also ahead, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we are talking to the leaders at Sinai Chicago when we return. The updated bivalent COVID-19 booster vaccine for children ages 5 to 11 is now being administered here. Chicago's top doctor tried to lessen some fears today, urging parents to get their children the shot.
The most common side effect was none. So really, most children have no effect. And we want kids to get both their updated pediatric COVID booster and their flu vaccine.
And when it comes to the general population in Chicago, out of 1.9 million people eligible to get the new Omicron targeted booster, only 10% have them right now. The COVID transmission level in Chicago remains very low, or green level. That's also true for most of Illinois nationwide, and only 2% of the counties have high transmission levels.
With flu season fast approaching, there's a big push underway for vaccinations. Now a new study takes a closer look at why some people are less likely to be vaccinated and more likely to be hospitalized. Our Michelle Gallardo reports.
You are going to be all protected in about 2 weeks, okay?
A patient at Avalon Park's Oak Street Health Clinic, 80-year-old Priscilla Boyd, got her flu shot today. It is something she's been doing for a couple of years now.
Didn't worry about it before. And I thought, I was protected.
As the flu season gets underway, the CDC today released a troublesome study revealing data from the last 13 years that shows hospitalization rates are 80% higher among Black adults, 30% higher among Native American adults, and 20% higher among Latino adults. Chicago Department of Public Health numbers from last year's season back those up here locally, showing that ICU admissions for influenza were staggeringly higher for Black adults at over 75% of the total.
We have less access to care. We have less access to good transportation to even get to the places to receive your health care.
Overcoming structural barriers is just one part of the equation. In issuing their recommendations today, the CDC stressed the importance of creating tailored programming efforts that increase awareness and education when it comes to getting a flu shot. It is where the city of Chicago's efforts lie, and also where the efforts of clinics like Oak Street Health, which primarily serve minority communities, lie as well.
We're building trust with our patients, meaning we're bringing them in for their visits. So each and every day, like when I come in the morning, I know who I'm seeing. I know who has had their flu vaccine and who hasn't. I know who I need to hone in on and have another conversation with them.
The first challenge, however, is getting people in these minority communities through the door. Timmy Janelle Boyd Odom says even while she and her mother have now gotten their flu shots, her 3 adult sons refuse to do so.
No matter how much I impute this on them, the importance of it, oh no, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's okay. I'm good. You're like, okay, you're good until you're hospitalized.
In Avalon Park, I'm Michelle Gallardo, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Because the flu shot takes 2 weeks to be fully effective, this is considered the best time to get it right before the start of the holiday season.
Well, this year, nearly 300,000 American women will develop breast cancer. More than 43,000 will die from the disease.
Prevention and treatment key to surviving. That's why all through the month of October is all about breast cancer awareness.
So joining us on this Tuesday to talk about the disease and treatment here in Chicago is Sinai Chicago President and CEO, Dr. Ngozi Ezike. Of course, she is a very familiar face. Dr. Ezike, the former director of the Illinois Department of Public Health.
And we're also joined by Dr. Pam Koslaw. She's the section chief of oncology at Sinai Chicago. Welcome, doctors.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yes.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Well, let's start with this, and it's simple, but it's an important question. Why is Breast Cancer Awareness Month especially important here in Chicago and the communities Sinai serves?
Yeah, it's critically important when we think about the communities that directly are impacted, the African American community specifically, who have higher rates of death compared to white women. They have a higher rate of the more aggressive forms of cancer, which can result in lower survival rates. And so we really need to emphasize the importance of getting those screenings, adhering to treatment, and of course, Sinai is here to provide all the care that's necessary for all the women in our community.
And of course, treatment and technology on incredible new levels. Dr. Koslaw, what are the exciting services and treatments that the oncology department is providing to its patients?
We're really excited by funding from Barbara Bates Foundation and similar philanthropies over the years that have provided state-of-the-art for our very underserved patient population. We see vast majority of African American and Latina women in our breast cancer clinic, which is a comprehensive clinic model. And lately, there's been addition of a 3D tomosynthesis machine that has really improved the accuracy of mammography, and especially for women with dense breast and women with triple breast cancer, triple negative, which is difficult to pick up on mammography and ultrasound the usual way. And African American women, as you know, have higher rates of triple negative breast cancer with worse outcomes. So we're really excited about the technology piece, but take huge pride in our supportive oncology collaborative model, where a multidisciplinary team of providers meets with the patients and goes through their entire social and psychological determinants of health and addressing it in multi-tiered fashion.
And Dr. Ezike, what would you say to women of color watching who may be hesitant about going to get a mammogram, or who think, I don't know where to go, or I'm just not going to do that? What is the advice for them who need to go, obviously, and get a mammogram?
Yeah, everyone needs to get their mammogram, and every year is ideal. Understanding that prevention is even better than cure, and the earlier you find anything, the better the chance for survival. And breast cancer is one of the best treated cancers of all cancers. So we absolutely want to identify if we have anything, and then we can move forward. But we can't get to treatment if we don't know what we have.
Well, this is one of the most exciting events every year. I'm getting excited about it because I'm a big donor. Every year she asks me to be in her show, and her fashions. Barbara Bates, a designer, longtime icon, breast cancer survivor, and of course she has this fashion show every year. But a new thing is the Barbara Bates Imaging Center at the Sinai Hospital, of course. But this weekend, it's all about fashion, fun, family, faith. Let's talk about the power and the importance of this fashion show and the fundraising.
Yeah, we're so grateful to be able to partner with Barbara Bates. We actually have the Barbara Bates Imaging Center at Mount Sinai that that was launched just a year ago, November of 2021. And so this annual fundraiser, much of the proceeds go back to the imaging center. So we're very excited for the great event that's happening this Sunday night, as well as the proceeds that will go back and support the imaging center and the great care that's given there.
Will both of you be models in this fashion show on Sunday?
Looking forward to
it. We sure hope to.
A custom-made.
10 of my patients are going to be there.
Yes, some of your patients, some breast cancer survivors, all of the outfits that everybody wears, they are Barbara Bates originals. Can you tell me a little bit about the outfits you're going to be wearing? Just give me a little sneak peek about it.
We'll see you there, Cheryl. We will see it all.
They have a lot of
That's
celebrities.
A surprise.
Right.
Entertainment is great, and it's really all about sisterhood and sharing and spreading the word. That was a good question you asked, Rob, because in the African American community, it is viewed very differently.
Not just that, the Latina community too, or the Hispanic community. Yeah. I know a lot of my loved ones, the women are hesitant to go and talk to doctors like the both of you about this and just be transparent about it. And Dr. Zike's right, it can be treatable. It can be treatable. Doctors, thanks so much for joining us.
They have male models too.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
They have male models, Rob. Okay.
Dr. Zike, it is so great to see you. There were years where we had you here live during those news conferences, bringing comfort to so many people in this state. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you were amazing, and you were helpful and inspirational, and people looked forward to hearing from her every day. She was hope in the midst of uncertainty.
It was hard.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing both of you there. This donor
on the runway, on the catwalk.
Yeah, right. Thanks, doctors. The information, let's show one more time here. Barbara Bates Fashion Show is this Sunday. That's at Venue West in the Westtown neighborhood. Begins at 4.
Yes.
It benefits the Barbara Bates Imaging Center that you were talking about, Cheryl, at Sinai Chicago Hospital. Yeah. Important to be speaking about this right now.
Yeah, best blessings to Barbara Bates, and of course to all the models who are doing this for a great cause on the runway on Sunday. We'll be covering that too.
We could do a whole fashion show on your outfits. We really could. I mean,
you've got some great video. We could have interchanged it there.
Right.
All right.
Well, still to come, the out of this world explosion that was seen by people here on Earth.
Now this is what gets Rob excited.
It's not it's not the asteroid.
Fashion, NASA fashion. All right. And one girl's very, very creepy doll.
What is that?
It's gone viral.
Jose, our producer, is filling it.
He's fascinated with this
story of the day.
So,
we have to get this in.
Yeah, we got to get it in its entirety. Okay. Yeah.
No.
Check this out. One of the brightest explosions in space ever. Wow. Was recently captured on a camera by the telescopes here on Earth. Now, you're looking at a gamma ray burst.
This is when a massive star collapses into a supernova explosion and becomes a black hole. NASA says these are some of the most powerful explosions in the universe. The star that exploded 9 days ago was likely much larger than our sun. No cause for alarm, though.
Yeah.
This happened about 2.4 billion light years away.
Ooh. Yeah, it's really
Becomes
beautiful.
a black hole, and we don't know what's in there.
I know.
Ever.
Maybe Phil does, our scientist.
Yeah. I have no idea what's
out on the other side.
2.4 billion light years is an incredible distance.
Good chunk of time away.
Yeah. So it certainly has been a cold October around here. Look at this. Colder than normal each of the last 6 days, with no day in the entire month warmer than 76 degrees. Rainfall just 81 hundredths. That's 1.22 inches below normal. But looking ahead, big changes, much warmer for the last part of the month. Most days will see highs in the 60s and 70s once we get to about Friday of this week. Not much going on live Doppler 7 Max until you get over into northwest Indiana. Once you get east of Portage, there's a little bit of lake effect rain showers, not snow, but rain showers, especially over towards Michigan City. The high today, better than yesterday, but still well below normal, 49 degrees. Last year, we got up to 72. Few other numbers for you. Naperville, you're at 45, 43 in Lombard right now, 42 in McHenry, 45 in Zion, and 42 up there in Green Bay. Des Moines already down to 37 with clear skies because there's the back edge of the cloud cover covering much of our area. You get out towards DeKalb, skies are still fairly clear. Even throughout much of Kane County, skies are clear. But there's the clouds that are kind of backing to the west. So partly to mostly cloudy skies overnight. Then we'll see a break. Then we'll see more clouds move in towards daybreak. Temperature starting out around freezing, and then as we get into the afternoon hours, we'll see plenty of sunshine with temperatures reaching the upper 40s. We head into your Thursday, a totally different sort of day. After another chilly start, by late in the day, we'll see these high, thin clouds, still plenty of sunshine, and highs back to near 60. You think that's mild? Friday will be around 70. So overnight tonight, kind of cold. Highs tomorrow, 45 to 51. Most places in the upper 40s after a gray start. Skies will become sunny. Extended outlook, you can see 70, 73, 74. Just beautiful weather. Next chance for any rain, likely not coming until early Monday. We'll be back with more right after this break.